The whistleblower who alerted authorities about the nearly 24 dogs locked in a filthy camper west of Scottsbluff shares her story. KNEB.TV News starts right now.
From your trusted source for news in western Nebraska and eastern Wyoming, this is KNEB.TV News. Presented by Platte Valley Companies, premier provider of financial services.
Hello, I'm Ryan Murphy. This is KNEB.TV News powered by Platte Valley Companies. Thanks for joining me. In our top story, we're learning more about how the 21 dogs that were rescued from their owners in a filthy camper west of Scottsbluff. Sue Maywald of Captain Critter's Country Campground asked to not be on camera for this interview, but says she is the one who alerted authorities. And this week, she talked with KNEB News to share about the adage of, if you see something, say something, saved these innocent dogs.
And I asked if I could meet the dogs. And he was reluctant, but he let me come in the camper. It was horrible. But that's when I got to see what was going on inside. The first thing I saw were all these big cages on the left, and there was a bucket that they were trying to clean up, but it was as though they were just using a mop to. It was almost like they were spreading the feces.
She says it's tough to describe the scene inside the RV.
No, I can. I don't know if I can get through it without tears. I'm better now a little bit because some time has gone between. There were just so many little dogs, and the little dogs were running in and out of the camper, and it was cold outside. The door was open. The smell inside was, I'm going to describe it as toxic. It was so horrible.
Maywald said she had no idea of the magnitude of how many dogs were affected inside the filthy camper.
He told me he had 15. It was when the sheriff's department served the warrant and went in there to rescue those dogs that they found 21 apparently. I lost count. I was standing out there and I called my friend Gary. He came out just for moral support for me. My sister came out again for moral support for me because I was just devastated, and I'm still devastated at what I saw. I might have to seek help. Actually, seeing that was an absolute trauma.
Even though she made the phone call, she says the true heroes are everyone who stepped up afterwards.
All I did was make a phone call. But Deputy Hamilton came out, and he could see and he could smell what was happening out there. And then another deputy came out to join him, and a couple of people in the campground came and spoke to him. He is the one who put everything together. He got in touch with the Humane Society. He got a hold of the veterinarian. He's the one who got the warrant. The deputies who came out here to rescue those dogs, and the veterinarians who were here, and animal control, and the Humane Society, they are the heroes in this scenario. All I did was make a phone call. But I'm so glad I did. They are my heroes. They're my heroes.
And if alerting the authorities wasn't enough, she and her sister went above and beyond afterwards to ensure that these dogs will end up all right.
My sister went with me to Walmart, and we bought dog beds and blankets and toys and food and all kinds of stuff. I think I spent almost $500 just making sure that they have something soft to sleep on, but they probably got the best night's sleep they'd had in long, long time.
Yeah.
So, and they were warm and they were dry.
The suspects, J.D. and Sedania Sims of Lyman, have pleaded not guilty to 21 misdemeanor counts of animal cruelty and will be back in court on April 15th for their pretrial hearing. We'll have more news right after this.
The journey of a dream becoming reality. When we're young, a dream develops into a passion. That passion continues to manifest and grows as you do. It becomes all you want to do and all you want to be. It gives you direction. It drives you. Then, your dream has become a reality. When that dream is ready to be reality, Platte Valley Bank will be with you every step of the way.
Life Care promises us that we are looked after and taken care of properly.
If I didn't have Life Care, I would be probably scared to death about having enough money for when I got older or when I got sick.
Moving in here was an easy decision and in fact a no-brainer. I looked at it as actually buying long-term care insurance and in retrospect a good move.
One of the things that convinces me that we did the right thing is no matter what happens, we will constantly be taken care of.
The whole thing is just vital because you don't have to be worried about what's ahead for you. It's there, it's in black and white, and that's reassuring.
This is home. It has been from the day I moved in.
Welcome back. WNCC is pitching in to help a student from rural Scottsbluff and her family who lost everything in a house fire this week. For the first round Region 9 women's basketball tournament game against Trinidad tonight, donations of items such as clothes, hygiene products, blankets, phone chargers, food, or cash will get you free admission. Lillian Golden is a member of the Cougar dance team, and while no one was at home at the time of the fire Tuesday, her family returned to witness the flames that claimed the house, prized possessions, and several family pets. Boxes will be set up for donations, and WNCC officials are hoping to pack Cougar Palace for the game that starts at 8 p.m. tonight. Well, Robert Simpson is now officially the Scottsbluff County Assessor following a swearing-in ceremony that took place on Wednesday. Simpson, who was the only applicant for the position, was appointed to the office on Monday evening by the Board of Commissioners on a 5-0 vote, but with a caveat: the oath of office would not be administered for another 6 months, and after a possible review by the board. After the vote, the conditional approval was the subject of a lengthy discussion on whether someone appointed to an elected office could be held to such a standard at all, with the board and other officials deciding to get legal advice on the matter. Officials told KNB News they received an opinion from legal counsel for the Nebraska Association of County Officials on Wednesday that clarified that matter. That led to Simpson swearing in. He will hold the office through the end of 2026, with that and other elected county offices up for election during the course of that year. And a reaction of the Nebraska congressional delegation was swift following President Biden's State of the Union address last night. 3rd District Congressman Adrian Smith said, like many Nebraskans, he wanted to hear Biden correct course on his failed policies on weakening border security and perpetuating inflation, but he continued down an extreme path distant from the views and struggles of most Americans. Senator Deb Fischer said Biden painted an imaginary picture of America where families' high grocery bills are the fault of businesses instead of inflation, and where the dreams of wealthy climate activists matter more than the reality facing working Americans. Senator Pete Ricketts said the address was a viciously partisan campaign speech, showing Biden lives in complete denial of the disastrous impacts his failed policies and choices have had on the American people.
Welcome to Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. Whether you're a wine enthusiast, a whiskey sommelier, a tequila connoisseur, or you just love your beer, Kelly's has the best selection of what you're looking for. Family owned and operated since 1946 and right on 27th Street in Scottsbluff. Come see us today at Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. And remember to be a good neighbor. Don't drink and drive. Kelly's Liquor, West 27th Street in Scottsbluff.
Logos in Gearing is the place to get all of your school spirit gear, personalized gifts, and promotional items for your business and employees and banners for any special event. Logos is also the only place to stop for custom screen printing or embroidery. You can even design it yourself on their interactive website. Stop into Logos today. They'll design it, print it, and have it to you in no time. There's no job too big or small for Logos. That's Logos in Gearing.
Welcome to this week's Cattle Call. I'm Susan Littlefield on the Rural Radio Network. Maybe we just need to wait till Thursdays to do this program if we get the cash to get as excited as it did today. You can see not joining us would be Brad Koima. Brad is actually at the Iowa Cattlemen's meeting this week, so Joe graciously was willing to step back in. And then, Joe, right before we got ready to record this, you're like, whoa, hold on a second. These markets have gone absolutely crazy. And I think that's exactly where we need to start, to see some bids of 185 to 187 in the north when we've been waiting all week to see a little nugget to show up.
Right. Yeah, we're finally getting that excitement here today. It really didn't start out with any general, lower bids at all. All of a sudden, my phone started blowing up. 85, 86, 87 up here in the north is trading now. I also heard a high beef number too is as high as 300. It kind of goes to a plant that's maybe doesn't yield quite as good. The south did get some 186 as well, and this all happened quite rapidly, and that finally did get this market excited. There were some bids yesterday in the south of some 182, but obviously people passing into that, but it erupted today quite dramatically, and the futures are taking note too. I know last week we kind of talked about this range that we've been in, and it's not just a small range either. A guy can get tossed around pretty good. It's $4.50, $5 range from the top to the bottom. So you're seeing a lot of coiling action happen on the charts here with last week as well. And today with the cash market action, you're seeing some of those deferreds finally making a new high for the move. So if we can muster a good close, up $1.50 up front and $1 higher in the back, you're going to make these charts look pretty spicy at high levels too. But we have the funds that are coming in here supporting their positions on the bottom side of the range, and the funds like to buy breakouts, much like they like to sell big sell-offs as well. They're participants with that. So we'll look at the open interest probably tomorrow morning and see if we attracted any more players.
I thought it was interesting, Joe, because early week it was extremely quiet and you were even hoping to get some sort of bid offers. And some were thinking we might not even see any movement this week, knowing where the coolers are at for capacity. So it's kind of intriguing that we see some pickup on a Thursday afternoon.
Yep. Much kind of like last week too. We kind of knew there could be some Friday hours that were cut back, or a plant that was dark on some cooler clean out type stuff. And that's kind of what we heard at the beginning of this week too, that Friday, the kills are going to be light, and you heard all that type of stuff. But it's always interesting that some of the bids show up middle of the week, and then all of a sudden you're getting some, cash activity on a Thursday when they're backing up hours. It shows truly how tight the numbers are here. And we're going to see some reflection of that moving forward too.
I was just glancing over at the computer to see what those box beef numbers were. And I mean, both the choice and the select were up. I mean, choice was up $1.24 on a midday on a Thursday.
Yeah, that's also going to reflect the sheer tightness of numbers that we have, as well as the demand at these price levels. We've hung around up here plenty that they can move. And if you're short of a product in general, I don't care if we talk about chips or Skittles or whatever, you are going to probably push the price a little bit higher because you just have less of it available as well. So we're getting some true economics to kind of come through. It's probably a bad example with chips and Skittles, but that's the first thing that came to my head here today. So
well, it makes sense though. What are you hearing when it comes? I mean, I know you talk about the demand and how tight things are, and we continue to know that heifer retention isn't where it's at, but we're into the throes of calving season. Are we turning the tide a little bit? Maybe some optimism going on within this cattle market?
Yes, I think we're not going to see any data that we can look at, that we can write a number down as far as heifer retention, but I got to think we're getting close to it. I know if you look back at the charts at like 2014, then 2015, 2015 is when there's a large amount of heifer retention, putting them back to pasture. But we didn't get that data till 2016 either, right? It was all in the rearview mirror. So we have to be careful this year that it is set up like 14, where we have tight supply. We also have cheap corn, and we got high replacement costs. Just let's not get away from that aspect either. That we will have to do some marketing here, and looking at some put options or some LRPs, I think is just fine. But let's not get too carried away that we have tight numbers and the prices are always going to go higher, because in 15 we did rally into tight numbers, but we also failed in the tightest numbers in the fall of 2015. So that is something that we have to, keep on our back of our minds with these kind of moves here, because we will see heifer retention, but a lot of us are probably going to see it when we get data from it, unfortunately.
Are we taking advantage of the way we've seen some lower grain prices? I mean, you and I talked a little bit about this last week of getting those prices locked in.
Yep, there's a little bit more talk among our producers, a little bit more, or just general interest, like, hey, I can only buy so much physical corn this far out. What should I do? So that there's a little bit more activity with that, which is a good thing. A lot of these corn call options are still relatively cheap, and we've seen the grain market rally here since last week, and that's because these charts are starting to look better. We're just doing little chip shots. We're getting above the 10-day moving average. We're getting above the 20-day moving average. So these funds are going to come out of some of their net shorts that they have in respect to how this chart looks. And tomorrow we'll get a new look at what the monthly conditions are for our ending stocks. And I don't know if I see too much activity the last few weeks to really generate a smaller ending stock number for corn and beans. But we're getting closer to that time of the year where weather is going to start being talked about, the dryness all around. I mean, we got guys tickling the dirt up here all the way to central Iowa. I mean, things are going pretty rapidly here. So it's definitely something to look at to lock in, some nice $4.80 new crop corn or $5 cash corn for some of these guys that are not cash corn, but at least something with the options anyway, that you don't let that get away from us.
Well, we are starting to see the fact that Lent is starting to wind down. Now that we're into the month of March, which means grilling season in earnest will be starting very shortly. And hopefully with everything that's been going on, financially, the consumers can still be there to make those purchases and throw them on the steaks on the grill.
Right. Yep. We're starting to turn over that leaf here moving forward, where we got back-to-back holidays that are going to be really good. Mother's Day and Memorial Day. I know it seems far away, but these packers are going to try to will get some of their needs met at some point there too. So that's all right around the corner.
All right. Finally, what's your optimistic outlook as we look tomorrow on a Friday into next week's trading session?
Having back-to-back weeks here where we know there's a less kill, but having cash show up the way that it is rather intriguing. You also have the charts that are looking really, really good at these points. The last 2 weeks, a person could have hedged here near the high end of the range, but we've given almost too many opportunities. Not that it's wrong, but too many opportunities even for a speculator to maybe get short on the top side of this range, be okay, the market breaks to the bottom side of the range. For me, that doesn't work. I would get kind of too carried away and saying that it's a safe place to be trading this range. Cattle market especially does not like a sideways trade, period. It is coiled up, like I mentioned before, and you just have to watch for this breakout. And if that happens, I'm going to guess that these funds will barrel in there in good fashion.
All right. Best way to get a hold of you guys.
Give us a call, 1-800-358-3047, or look us up on the webpage, kkvtrading.com.
All right, Joe Koima has been joining us this week. Brad may or may not be back next week. We'll find out when the show comes around next week. Quick reminder that commodity futures and options do involve a substantial risk of loss, not suitable to all investors. And that's this week's Cattle Call on the Rural Radio Network.
You deserve to have a building that will last for generations. With more than 110 years of experience and thousands of satisfied customers, Morton Buildings is the industry leader you can trust. If you're planning for a garage, farm shop, horse barn, storage building for your RV, boat, or collectibles, there's no better time to buy. Contact your local Morton sales office or visit mortonbuildings.com to get started today.
Let's take a peek at your weekend community calendar, brought to you by Riverstone Bank. The community calendar is brought to you by Riverstone Bank. We're local and we love our community.
Fly United Airlines, operated by SkyWest with Western Nebraska Regional Airport. United is dedicated to going the extra mile for you with daily flights to and from Denver, along with a commitment to excellent service. Reserve your flight today, and remember, United miles can be earned and redeemed with your flights. While at the airport, stop and enjoy authentic Italian food at Roma Italian Restaurant. Plus, Hertz Thrifty Car Rental is there for your car rental needs. Make life easier, relax, and get on board with Western Nebraska Regional Airport.
At Platte Valley Bank, we want to help you take advantage of every adventure. We know you have plans, goals, and dreams. Let us help you with them. Whether you are just starting the business you have always imagined or looking to grow your existing one, we have a business loan to fit your needs. Stop in and see us at Platte Valley Bank and let us help make your dreams a reality. You belong here. Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
And finally tonight, daylight savings time begins this weekend, where folks will spring forward and set their clocks ahead 1 hour. The Scottsbluff Fire Department is using this time to remind people to use daylight saving time to coincide with checking the batteries in your smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. They add, if your detectors are more than 10 years old, it's time to test them. Nearly 2/3 of home fire deaths occurred when there were no working smoke detectors. Daylight savings time officially begins on Sunday at 2 a.m. Well, that does it for us this time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday.